Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place where we take stacks of information, complex articles, research, and we try to unearth the really compelling insights for you. Today, we're diving into a question it's fascinated people forever, hasn't it? Is aging something we can actually slow down, maybe halt? Or, even reverse? What if getting old wasn't this inevitable thing, but more like a biological challenge, something we could potentially overcome? So our mission today is to really explore this article. It's titled, Is Aging Hackable? We want to pull out the core ideas, the key nuggets. It touches on biology, evolution, even philosophy. And we'll try to, balance that scientific optimism with a necessary kind of critical look.
Exactly. And we'll guide you through it. We'll look at why we age according to the article, what science might be able to do about it, and crucially, what are the huge social, ethical, philosophical questions that pop up if we could actually hack aging? What's really interesting here is how the article connects all these different fields. It gives you a much bigger picture of what extending life could really mean for all of us.
Okay, so let's unpack that first big question. Before we even talk about hacking aging, why do we actually age? The article puts forward it's a really counterintuitive idea, isn't it? That aging isn't really a feature nature designed. It's more like an oversight.
Precisely. Yeah, that's the core evolutionary argument, and it's pretty stark when you think about it. Basically, natural selection, its main job, its overwhelming focus was just making sure organisms got to reproductive age, passed on their genes. That's it. After that point, there just wasn't much evolutionary pressure pushing for, super long-term survival genes.
So once you've passed on your genes, evolution's kind of done with you.
In a manner of speaking, yes. The priority for maintaining the body just drops significantly. The article used this analogy is quite vivid.
Yeah.
The body is a bit like a rental car.
A rental car, okay.
Yeah, you need it to work well for that specific journey, right? Reaching maturity, reproducing. But after that, all the constant cellular repair, the upkeep, it takes immense energy.
Yeah.
And nature, well, it seems to have prioritized putting that energy into making the next generation, raising offspring, rather than keeping the individual car running indefinitely.
Ah, I see. So it's an energy trade-off.
Exactly. And this implies something pretty profound, too.
Yeah.
Death wasn't actively engineered by evolution, wasn't created. Evolution just didn't really bother to prevent the breakdown after reproduction because, keeping that individual alive longer didn't offer a big survival advantage for the species overall.
So if you're wondering why things start to creak or ache or you forget where you put your keys, it's not because nature planned your decline. It's more like the warranty ran out because the main evolutionary job was done.
Yeah.
It's kind of a harsh truth, right?
It is a bit harsh, yeah. Very pragmatic.
But wait, what about those species like, Greenland sharks or giant tortoises? They live for centuries. How do they fit into this rental car idea? Are they just exceptions?
That's a great question. And the article touches on this diversity. Those long-lived species often operate under very different rules, different pressures. They might have, say, much slower metabolisms or fewer predators, or their reproductive cycles might span decades and decades.
So their rental agreement is just longer because the conditions are different.
Exactly. Their evolution factored in different environmental pressures, allowing for a bigger investment in long-term maintenance compared to species focused on rapid reproduction. So the core principle, reproductive priority, still holds. But how it plays out, the energy balance, varies hugely across life. It's all about those costs and benefits in a specific environment.
Okay, that makes sense. It's not one size fits all. So this whole idea that aging is maybe more of an oversight, it does open up some really interesting angles, like how it connects to our intelligence.
Yes, exactly. The article points out something fascinating there too. Our fluid intelligence, raw problem solving, adaptability, that tends to peak around 25, maybe 30.
Right when survival and reproduction were most critical for early humans.
Precisely. Think hunting, gathering, dealing with complex social stuff, protecting kids. Quick thinking and adaptability were crucial then. Now, crystallized knowledge, wisdom, that keeps growing, sure. But for immediate survival back then, maybe less critical than being quick on your feet, mentally speaking.
Okay.
And then there's the bigger picture view. Aging, from this perspective, also serves as nature's way of ensuring, turnover, genetic turnover.
Turnover, like making way for the new.
Exactly. It prevents stagnation. New individuals come along with potentially new gene combinations, maybe better suited for a changing world. It ensures the species as a whole can adapt, which, raises a pretty fundamental question.
Is aging actually necessary for a species to thrive long term, even if it means individuals don't?
It's a challenging thought. Is individual finitude the price for species-level adaptability?
Wow. So, our limited lifespans aren't just about biological limits, but maybe they're part of this grander evolutionary scheme, keeping the species fresh. It really makes you wonder what happens if we mess with that fundamental cycle. All right, so if aging isn't this unchangeable, deeply programmed thing, maybe, just maybe, it has weaknesses we can exploit. This is where the article starts to get really optimistic, scientifically speaking, a glimmer of hope.
It definitely offers that, yes. The core idea is, look, if aging wasn't intricately designed with layers of backup systems, maybe it's controlled by just a, relatively speaking, few genetic switches.
Switches, like something you could flip.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
If it's governed by simpler mechanisms, it might be vulnerable to targeted intervention. It's a compelling idea that something so profound might have, in theory, a simpler control panel than we thought.
And there are examples.
There are really remarkable ones. The article mentions the Yamanaka factors. These are just 4 specific genes.
Only
It's just 4. And they can basically reprogram adult cells, wind them back to a youthful, pluripotent state, like hitting a cellular reset button.
Wow. So the age isn't permanently baked into the cell.
It strongly suggests it's more of a state that can be altered, not an irreversible destiny etched in stone. Then there's another example, the Trium5 gene. This is an ancient gene, like a leftover tool from our evolutionary past
Yeah.
that helped fight off extinct viruses.
Okay.
And now scientists are looking at repurposing it to help block HIV.
Mm.
It shows how these old genetic tools might be dusted off and used for new challenges.
Including maybe aging itself.
That's the hope,
Yeah.
that we can creatively repurpose our own biological history to tackle age-related decline.
So these examples, they do offer this tantalizing glimpse, don't they? A future where aging is less fixed. More like a puzzle we could actually solve. It's like finding biology has an undo button. But hitting undo on biology sounds, well, risky, doesn't it? The body isn't just code. Could we mess things up badly? Delete something vital without even realizing?
That is absolutely the crucial counterpoint. And the article brings in a strong dose of reality here. Yes, reprogramming cells is amazing, but the human body, it's vastly more complex than software. It's
Yeah.
messy, chaotic even, full of interactions we barely understand.
Not neat and modular like code.
Not at all.
Yeah.
You tweak in one thing, you could cause thousands of unpredictable ripple effects. It's like trying to fine-tune a symphony by hitting one key with a hammer.
Okay, bad analogy maybe, but I get it. Ripple effects.
And one huge, inescapable ripple effect is cancer risk.
Oh, right. Extending cell life.
Is tightly linked to the risk of mutations getting out of control.
Mm.
Making cells live longer or divide more often inherently raises the chance of errors creeping in, which can lead to cancer.
So preventing aging without causing cancer, that's the tightrope walk?
A monumental one, yes. And another key point the article makes is this difference between just living longer and living better.
Right. Quality of life.
Exactly. Even if we delay death, what about dementia, frailty, just emotional fatigue from centuries of existence?
It doesn't guarantee a youthful or even meaningful extra time.
Not necessarily. And ultimately, the article reminds us there's entropy, the second law of thermodynamics.
Things fall apart.
Basically, yes. Systems naturally tend towards disorder over time. Even with interventions, fighting that breakdown takes energy, and the breakdown might just take a different, perhaps equally unpleasant form. You can't really escape physics.
Yeah, a sobering reminder. It's not just about keeping cells alive. It's about keeping the whole complex system functioning well, keeping us functioning well mentally and physically. It feels like we're up against something way bigger than just one disease, more like a fundamental principle.
Okay, so beyond the huge biological challenges, the article really pushes us into the social, the ethical, the philosophical side of things. If we could actually hack aging widely, what kind of world does that create? These aren't just thought experiments, are they? They could fundamentally change society.
Absolutely. And the first big, unavoidable question the article tackled is, who gets access?
Right. Who gets to live forever or
Yeah.
close to it? If you look at the big picture, the article suggests it's highly likely that radical life extension, at least initially, would be incredibly expensive, accessible only to the very wealthy.
Creating a biological class divide.
Potentially, yes. Imagine a world where a small elite lives for centuries, accumulating wealth, power, influence, while everyone else remains mortal.
How would that even work? An immortal ruling class, increasingly detached from normal lifespans.
It's a disturbing possibility the article explores. It could really strain social cohesion, democratic ideals, and the very fabric of society.
And then there's the obvious one,
Oh.
overpopulation.
Definitely a concern. Now, the article does note that wealthier societies tend to have lower birth rates, which might offset things slightly.
I mean, offset it.
Might. But a dramatic increase in lifespan across the board could still put immense pressure on resources, ecosystems, you name it.
But it's not just about resources, is it? The article talks about renewal.
Yes, the loss of renewal. Death, for all its tragedy, does allow societies to regenerate. New ideas take hold, generational perspectives shift.
It prevents things getting stuck.
Exactly. Without that turnover, the article warns of ideological fossilization. A society dominated by the very long-lived might become resistant to change, innovation, basically stagnation.
Where the old ways, held by immortal elites, just never give way.
It's a real risk. The engine of progress, which often involves generational change, could seize up.
And philosophically, could living forever actually be boring? Or worse?
The article delves into that too, this idea that maybe life loses its urgency, its meaning, without that finish line.
Because finite time makes moments precious.
That's the argument. Without finitude, do achievements feel as significant? Does purpose fade? Could you end up with a kind of existential fatigue, just monotony over centuries?
Craving an end you can't have.
Possibly. And even if the body lasts, what about the mind? Memory, personality, identity?
Yeah.
Could they degrade over millennia? What does living forever even mean then?
And you're still not invincible, right?
Absolutely not. Accidents, violence, disasters.
Yeah.
Immortality wouldn't mean invulnerability. Plus, the potential loneliness as everyone you knew from your first life passes on.
Wow. These are huge questions, not just about medicine, but about what we value, what society we want, what being human even means. It's a total potential re-architecting. So how does the article wrap things up? It sounds like the author lands on the side of skepticism.
Deep skepticism, yes. It serves as a really valuable counterweight to that earlier scientific optimism.
What are the final takeaways then?
Well, first, that the optimism often runs way ahead of the actual biological reality. It's easy to get excited, but the hurdles are immense. Second, that reminder. Biology is messy, complex, not like code, far less predictable.
Right.
Third, the lack of human data. So much of this comes from mice, from petri dishes. We're a long, long way from understanding the effects on actual humans over long timescales.
Which leads to the need for
long-term testing. The author stresses this needs testing over centuries before we can claim victory over aging. Centuries. That's a sobering timeline.
Yeah, definitely puts things in perspective.
And finally, that societal point again.
Yeah.
The risk that keeping older generations around indefinitely, while valuable in some ways, could actually inhibit change and progress.
Yeah.
It might reinforce stagnation.
So generational turnover might be necessary, even if difficult.
That's the challenging implication, yes.
It's a really powerful call for caution, isn't it? And humility. A reminder that even when science seems close to magic, we need rigorous evaluation and to think through all the consequences. Okay, what a journey we've been on. From aging as maybe an evolutionary glitch to genetic switches to the risks of societal stagnation and questioning existence itself. This deep dive into is aging hackable has given us a lot to chew on.
It really has. We've seen the conversation is way bigger than just the science. It's deeply human about our values, our future, how we understand life, so many perspectives to weigh. And the article did a good job laying them out, I think, the hope, but also that strong skepticism.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. If aging is truly hackable, is the main goal just to add more years? Or should it be about redefining what it means to truly live at every single stage? And maybe the biggest question, who gets to decide what that new definition looks like? And what will the consequences be for all of us? Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning, keep exploring. We'll see you next time.
Welcome. I'm going to talk about aging may be hackable. Aging wasn't firmly engineered by evolution, which means it may have vulnerabilities that science can exploit. What looks like destiny may, in fact, be changeable. The idea is to make us live much longer and stop aging. Evolution ensured longevity. Since most humans in history died young from predators, disease, or accident, evolution never prioritized survival into old age. It focused only on getting to reproduction. No genes for 80+ survival. Because few ever reached 17 or 80, there was no evolutionary reason to select genes that keep the body strong at those ages. Longevity simply wasn't rewarded. Car engine vs early crash. Like building an engine to last 500 miles when the car crashes after 50 miles. evolution had no incentive to design for durability beyond normal lifespan. Genes and bodies, like a rental car, useful only until reproduction is secured. The main goal, as you probably get it from what I have told you until now, is that evolution, nature, just wanted us to reproduce. And once that is done, it does not need us anymore. It didn't optimize for the rest. It only optimized until the time of reproduction. And then the rest didn't matter. Reproduction and caring for the young. Being around long enough so they can survive. But that's all nature was interested in. Body upkeep, too costly. Continuous repair for cells requires immense energy. Evolution chose to save those resources for reproduction rather than indefinite body maintenance. Early reproduction prioritized. Energy and resources went into youth, fertility, and survival, up to reproduction age, not into extending old age. That's where natural selection applied pressure. Evolution didn't design death. Death isn't coded in as a specific plan. Instead, evolution simply didn't design mechanism to stop breakdown after reproduction. So it didn't really care about stopping the breakdown after reproduction. Intelligence peak, 25-30. Fluid intelligence, problem solving, and adaptability peaked in youth, exactly when survival and reproduction mattered most. Crystallized knowledge lasts, but it matters less to evolution. Our peak age was around 25-30. Aging equals species turnover. Like growing a tree, aging ensures turnover in population, letting new genes rise and adapt to changing environments. It prevents stagnation. So we need aging and death for species turnover in order that new genes can emerge with the reproduction process. Old out, new adapt faster. Removing old generations allows faster genetic reshuffling. This keeps species nimble in the face of new threats. Because new genes can emerge, those genes can protect better the human species. That's why the old, in my opinion, must die out, that new generations can take their place. And hopefully, because of the reproduction, the natural selection, their genes would be better. Evolution equals a blind optimizer. Evolution isn't a perfect engine, but a slow, blind process that finds good enough solution. It doesn't maximize longevity, only adequacy for survival. Aging pressure, historical low. Predators, famine, and infection usually killed people before aging did. Natural selection simply didn't care about long-term survival. Aging equals unlocked door. Because it's not a fortress of perfect design, science might find easy entry points to manipulate or slow it. It's more oversight than intent. TRIM5 is a gene that once helped humans fight a virus that no longer exists. Today, scientists are using it to block HIV, showing that old genetic tools can be repurposed for new battles. 4 Yamanaka genes reverse cells. Just 4 out of 25 genes can reprogram cells back to youthful states. This suggests aging rests on surprisingly few levels. And because of that, the scientists think that it will be possible to slow or stop aging entirely. Only few controls matter. Aging isn't governed by thousands of complex, optimized pathways. Instead, a handful of key switches may dominate, making it more hackable. I find it quite funny that people think that the human body is just as hackable as a computer and that you can change it. and make it behave in a different way. Only few controls matter. Aging equals evolutionary shortcut. Aging is less a necessity than a shortcut nature took when early death was the norm. It was never refined as a feature. I think it's just because of the circumstances that it happened, since we died earlier in the past. Optimal with science. If aging is just an evolutionary neglect, science may one day make it optional. It could shift from fate to treatable condition. I've gave you the points until now of the scientist, and I'm gonna show you some criticism regarding that. The first point I want to come up with is that medicine helps. Sometimes it saves your life, but a lot of times it is overprescribed, and the side effects are really bad for you. You have to remember that. I would say that it's not so much medicine that extended our lifespan, but just that there are less famines and that there's more hygiene. The absence of famine and more hygiene, cleaner water, and less disease running around because of the hygiene improvement, this helped a lot, in my opinion. Medicine sometimes saves your life, but most was due to us having a more clean and more hygienic life. And now let's go into my critique against human immortality, because they are talking about human immortality. My first critique is that biology is not an operating system. Unlike a computer, biology is not a clean modular code base. It's messy, evolved over millions of years, and not proven to be upgradable with simple patches. So I have not seen a human being upgraded with simple patches. I know that I'm wearing correction lenses right now, and you could argue that in some way this upgrades me, because with my glasses I see clear, I can see better than without them. But that's a small thing, and it's external. I haven't seen internally humans being changed a lot, genetically or otherwise, and improve and having suddenly much more stamina, much more endurance, or don't getting heart disease anymore. I haven't seen any of that until now. Complexity beyond imagination. The body involves trillions of interaction at molecular, cellular, and systemic levels. Changing one pathway may cause countless unintended effects. When I started coding with ChatGPT, I've realized that the smallest mistakes will create a lot of error message, sometimes 50 or 150, until you solve it. The smallest mistake, the smallest error, and it takes a long time to make it really work. And the human body is, in my opinion, even more complex and even harder to hack, to crack, and to change. Cancer as the ultimate barrier. Extending cell life risk runaway mutations. Prevent aging without triggering cancer remains one of biology's hardest unsolved challenges. I think there will be side effect when you try to do that. If you push it too far, it could be very bad, and we are far from making it for now. Also, immortality isn't youth. Even if death is delayed, problems like dementia, frailty, and organ failure may still dominate. Living longer doesn't guarantee living better. If you live longer, but everybody gets dementia and their life gets very hard because of psychological traits, well, then it wouldn't be so nice. Entropy never stops. The second law of thermodynamics applies to living organisms. Systems wear down, accumulate errors, and degrade, no matter how much we repair them. Evolutionary traits persist. Evolution balanced reproduction, repair, and energy. Interfering with these trade-offs could destabilize other essential functions, resources, and inequality. If life extensions is possible, it will first serve the rich. This could magnify inequalities, creating a new class of near immortals ruling the rest. Overpopulation risk. Extending life without reducing births may overwhelm ecosystems, resources, and space. Humanity could face ecological collapse. Yet history shows that as poverty falls and contraception spreads, birth rates collapse below replacement. A greater danger today may be underpopulation, not overpopulation. Moreover, immortality may not be affordable or desirable for everyone, limiting how many would truly choose endless life. Loss of renewal. Death clears the way for new generation, new ideas, and adaptation. Without it, societies risk stagnation and cultural fossilization. This is especially dangerous if indoctrinated elites or rigidly trained minds live forever. Many older generations resist change, clinging to their privileges and worldview. If such people never leave, society risks being locked in their vision forever, with no fresh perspective. Psychological burden. Endless life may bring endless burden, despair, and lack of meaning. Mortality gives urgency and purpose that immortality could strip away. And it is unproven science. So far, no intervention has reversed aging in humans. Most results come from mice or cells in dishes, not from living human beings. False analogy with machines. Computer can be upgraded because they were designed by humans with modularity. Evolution did not design life with replaceable parts. Religious and ethical resistance. Many traditions see death as natural or necessary. Efforts to abolish it could spark deep philosophical, cultural, and moral opposition. But most people fear death and cling to life. They crave more time, more pleasure, more luxuries. Stoic philosophy unequally teaches contempt for death, but the majority will embrace immortality if offered. Yet even then, many only want to avoid death temporarily until they had enough of life. Endless repetition, boredom, and the clown show of daily existence may push them to accept death at last. Only those without philosophical death might truly desire immortality forever. Unintended consequence. Extending life might create unforeseen side effects. New diseases, mental breakdowns, or vulnerabilities we cannot yet predict. Identity and memory decay. Even if bodies last, minds may not. Memories fade, personalities shift. What does it mean to live forever if the self erodes? Immortality is not equal in vulnerability. Even if we stop aging, accidents, violence, and disaster will still kill. Immortality may be an illusion. I'm very skeptical about our ability to extend life and to stop aging for a very long period or forever. Very skeptical about that because I haven't seen it. It's like people thinking that we have escape velocity, that every year we'll gain more because of medical progress than we lose by living 1 year. I'm very skeptical with those kind of things because I believe in exponential growth, but with machines, with computers, with software. There, I believe in exponential growth. But I'm not sure that we can get it as easily with biology and the human body. The human body is different. And hacking it, changing the way it behaves, and getting rid of stuff like aging, even if scientists think it's easy because nature hasn't optimized against it, it simply did never ask itself the question. I'm skeptical because I have never seen it. The issue with scientists is that they often believe that they can do much more than they actually can, especially when they talk about the human body. Only if I see the results and I realize that people stop aging and that when they do it, they don't get a lot of side effects that are worse than aging actually, that they stay mentally fit, that they don't get depressed and so on. Only if I see it and we can test it over an extended period of time, like 1 or 2 centuries, even more, only then would I truly be convinced that we can simply take aging out of the question. And I still would wonder if it would not be a bad idea, because you have to remember that it's very hard for people to change and adapt and accept new ways of thinking and living. If those old people who never want to change are immortal, as I told you before, I'm not sure that that is a good idea. I think it's actually good for genes and humanity if the old folks die out and if new generations can take their place. Because if not, I think we are very stagnant. For all of those reasons, I'm skeptical about it. And even if the scientists think we can easily hack it, because of the reason I gave you at the beginning, I still think it will take a long time. And I don't think I will be around to see it. I don't say it's impossible, but I think it will take a long time. I'll let you think about that. And my next intervention will be about the probabilities of becoming wealthy. I will talk about that. As always, it would be appreciated if you like and subscribe. And I'll see you soon for my next intervention, when I'm gonna talk about the probabilities of becoming wealthy and what you can do actually to get better probabilities and to do stuff that makes sense, where you can succeed and actually make money instead of just going and gamble it away in a casino or somewhere else. Thank you for watching. Take care and see you soon. Bye-bye.